Purchase order. This is the table of entities. First, I'm going to be talking about the store executive. Store executive is an internal control. There are 6 activities involved in store executive. Next, vendors, which is lorry driver. Lorry driver is an external control. It only have one, which is unload the inventories after the 6 of activities carried by the store executive. Then, we have the operation employees. The operation employees also an internal control. It has 6 of the activities after the vendors or lorry driver. On top of that, we have store executive, which is I have mentioned, is an internal control. It continues 4 of the activities at the end. Last but not least, we have account unit, which is an external control. We end with the external control account unit with 2 of the activities.
Today I'm going to present about context diagram in purchase order procedure and cash disbursement procedure. But first, what is context diagram? Context diagram is the highest level of data flow diagram, which is also known as DFD, that has only one process symbol that represents a system. In context diagram, the circle symbol represents a system. Context diagram provides a summary level view of the system, and it is also depicts a data processing system and the external entities that are sources of its input and destination of its inputs. Under purchase order procedure, the context diagram will have a circle symbols that represent the purchase order systems. This context diagram shows that the company made a purchase order to the vendors, and then the vendors will ship or deliver the order inventories to the company. And then the internal entities in the company will check and review the delivered inventories, and then after it was completed, the completed purchase order will forward to the account units for managing and accounting records.
I'm going to show logical data flow diagram for purchase order and also cash disbursement. Okay, in this slide, we have logical DFD for purchase order. For logical DFD, we focus more on process. In the purchase order DFD, we have 4 processes, which is first process is review and deliver order inventory. Second process is prepare purchase order, and 3 process receiving process, and 4 process is review and update inventory.
I'm going to present about the flow chart. So this diagram shows a flow chart of purchase order. It has 2 items. It is store executive and operation employees.
Cash disbursement procedures. This is the table of entities in this part. First, we have account officers, which is Lisa. Accounts officers Lisa is an internal control, so she did all of this part in this table of entity. Next, accounts officers Lisa continued 2 last part of her activities here in this slide. Last but not least, we have 2 another manager, which are account manager and general manager, which are external.
Under purchase order procedure, the context diagram will have a circle symbols that represent the purchase order systems. This context diagram shows that the company made a purchase order to the vendors, and then the vendors will ship or deliver the order inventories to the company. And then the internal entities in the company will check and review the delivered inventories, and then after it was completed, the completed purchase order will forward to the account units for managing and accounting records. Under cash disbursement procedure, the context diagram will have a circle symbols that represent the cash disbursement systems. This context diagram shows that the company made payment to the vendors. The internal entities forward the payment voucher to the account manager so that the account manager can make the payment to the vendors. And then the vendor will send invoice to the company. And then after that, the internal entities will produce a report that consists a purchase summary, a comparable summary and total cash disbursement of the month.
This is a logical data flow diagram for cash disbursement. For this logical DFD also we have 4 processes, which is first process is review vendor invoice, process 2 is review and comparable summary, and process 3 is payment processing, and the last process is prepare monthly report. So this is the flow of logical data flow diagram for cash disbursement.
The flowchart of the cash disbursement system is only have for account officer. Separation of duties. It involves the division of responsibility in making bookkeeping, storage, reporting, and auditing. The more segregation of tasks, the less chance of employee committing the fraud. For small traders, an employee will be given more than one responsibility in performing duties in a company. SESB Berhad is a large company and requires a separation of duties between employees. This is to please the worker in carrying out their respective duties. Each employee will be given different tasks according to the suitability of their respective job in order to launch a success of the company. Standardized financial documentation. It is uniformity of documents is used in financial transactions such as invoice, internal material request, inventory receipt, and travel expense report. This can help the company in maintaining the consistency of record keeping from time to time. By using the correct document format, company will be able to easily review the past record when looking for difference in the system. Lack of standardization causes some items to be misinterpreted in surveying. SESB Berhad use standardized documents in managing and recording the company's transaction. Among these documents used by this company include invoice, inventory receipt, and general ledger master file. By standardizing this document, auditing activity will be easier because it is easy to find the relevant document. This also makes it easy for management at SESB Berhad to find the relevant document when they need the desired document. Daily or weekly trial balance. To get a balanced financial book, company needs to create a double entry accounting system. Even so, it is very likely that there are still errors in making record keeping that make this system are not balanced. This system can be done either once a week or once in a month. SESB Berhad use double entry system on a monthly basis. The manager will make a report that related to company's activity every month and will submit the report to general manager. By doing this activity, the company can check the condition of the system that allow management to check if there is a fraud or like. Can also make the difference between the initial record and the final financial record of the company.
4 possible weaknesses in the SESB procedures. First, negligence on inspection part. As it was mentioned in the case in the sales order, that in many deliveries, the operation employee just verify the quantity received as per the delivery note without physically inspecting and counting the inventory. Next, insufficient manpower. It is mentioned in the case when there is a high number of inventories made by the vendors in a day, causing the operation employees to struggle. So, it shows that manpower is less compared to the workload in the sales order. Next, delay in process. As it mentioned in the case in the cash receipts procedures, that Lisa checks on every Monday invoice for payment that any outstanding invoice that are becoming due in a week. It shows that if suppose a payment which is due on Tuesday will be clear on upcoming Monday. the other person has to wait for a week to get the money. Last but not least, supervision is missing, as Selamat prepares all the documents and hand over to the further team in cash receipt procedures. In the entire process depends upon the way Selamat did the recording of the data. What if Selamat records something wrong? The entire order is wrong. So, cross-checking of Selamat work is missing.
One of the internal control weaknesses is the negligence on the inspection part. The risk exposures that might be arise from this internal control weakness is human carelessness. This is because when the employee did not physically inspecting and counting the inventories, the loss of inventories will occur, and they tend to make mistakes in ensuring the stated quantities in the vendor's delivery notes and the number of the inventories that have been delivered. Next, the internal control weakness that have been identified is the insufficient manpower. The risk exposure that might be resulted from this insufficient manpower is misappropriation of asset. This can expose to fraudulent activities where the employees might commit fraud by stealing the inventories, since the same employees work in different departments but at the same time they handling the inventories. So this can give effects to the company's inventory, and companies might experience loss of inventories by these fraudulent activities. Other than that, the internal control weakness that had been identified is delay in process, which is this can contribute to the risk exposure, which is omission. The delay in process, it is also can cause the account officer, which is Lisa, forget to check for any outstanding invoice, and this can lead to problems with the payment. And Lisa need to do so many work, which is she needs to check for any outstanding invoice for every Monday. Last but not least, the missing supervision. The risk exposure that might be resulted from this internal control weakness is the incorrect recording of data or computer fraud. This can happen when only one person prepare all the documents and purchase orders to the vendors and give it to the next team to handle it.
For it, suggest and explain appropriate internal control procedure to rectify each of the weaknesses identified in C. So we have 4 internal control, which is 3-way mesh, inventory count, segregation of duty, and also supervision. First, 3-way mesh. It is for problem that negligence on in inspection part. 3-way mesh. It is to mesh its invoice with the respective purchase order and receiving report to detect possible discrepancies, which is independent verification, so that employee can verify the quantity received as per the delivery note. Second is inventory count. This is for problem insufficient manpower. Inventory count, also known as a stock, take help to keep track of the inventory. The inventory are updated when the inventory count is submitted. For any unforeseen changes in inventory level, including cost figure, a report is produced. Stock count helps the company keep up with the inventory changes and detect any inconsistencies more easily to ensure that stock levels are accurate by using multiple devices such as scanner barcode to count stock faster. This method no need a lot of manpower. Third internal control is segregation of duty. It's for a delay in process problem. Segregation of duty, which is between Lisa that check on invoice payment and also clear the payment. It needs to be done by separated person so that transaction move faster, that no need to other person wait for a week to get the money. Each staff should have particular job responsibilities to ensure that delegated job roles and responsibilities are not misunderstood, and it will be less opportunity for asset misappropriation. And the last internal control is supervision that the company don't have. That is the problem. So the supervision, it is a control activity involving the critical oversight of employee. Supervision is the guide and regulation of the workforce in order to ensure that they operate according to the plan and maintain the timetable. In addition, they are getting all necessary assistance in achieving their assigned job.
Cybercrime is a criminal activity that uses computer networks as well as a widespread use of the internet. Why does cybercrime happen? It is because the criminals wants to make a lot of money in a simple and fast way. By using state-of-the-art technology nowadays, cyber criminals will be able to deceive victims by spreading antivirus and the victim's computer. Because of that, society needs to be more careful by using internet to not fall to be a victim of a cybercrime. There are several ways to fight against criminal cybercrime as follows. First, implement an awareness campaign program. Campaign is one of the effective way that the society, even the government can do to prevent criminal cybercrime. This crime is detrimental to the lives of a victim. By doing campaigns like spreading advertisement on social medias such as Facebook or Instagram, it can reduce the cybercrime cases. This awareness campaign should be expanded so that the shallow knowledge society is not deceived by the cybercrime. By implementing this campaign, the community can understand and take this cybercrime as a serious matter and will take the right security measures in using application with their phones, laptop, computer, PC, and more. These cyber criminals will perform some cunning tactics in deceiving victims. Society needs to know the tactics that are used by the cyber criminals. Victims need to make a report if they are exposed to this cybercrime. If you are one of the victims of cybercrime, make sure go and make a report either at police station or tribunal. It is important for you to make a report so that other people will not be a victims with the same cyber criminals again.
One of the ways of fighting cybercrimes is establish cyber laws. The issue of cybersecurity nowadays become a hot topic conversation in the local community. So the government needs to create this cyber law so that this crime can be eradicated, and this cyber law can prevent the cybercrime from continuing to occur and increase in the country. Therefore, in order to create cybersecurity in this country, the Communication and Multimedia Commission (MCMC) needs to be strengthened so that the national security can be guaranteed. This can attract the foreign investor in investing in the country, which can improve the country's economy.
3 is introducing the ethical education system in cyber management. As we know, most of the victims of the cybercrime are teenagers. Almost all teenagers have smartphones today for their daily use. They are not properly educated about the ethics and how to use this smartphone. To prevent them from deceived by cybercriminal, educational institutions are responsible to reduce these cases by providing proper education to them. So educational institutions need to introduce a system that is ethical education system in cyber management so that they can be vigilant with the cyber criminal scam. They need to be careful if they receive a fake call from a stranger disguised as a bank office. This is common scam that usually happen right now. Usually, this call tells the victim that the victim is involved in money laundering and need to provide the victim bank card PIN. So, cybersecurity can be avoided from cybercrime with the existence of ethical education system in this cyber management. So, educational institutions play an important role to prevent them from being a victim of cyber criminal.
Using the latest antivirus software. The sophistication and convenience of the latest technology has made it easy for all the affairs of all communities to take place anywhere regardless of place. All transactions can take place at your fingertips. Social sites are often misused by irresponsible parties by committing cyber crimes. By committing this on social media, criminals think that their action will not be detected by authorities. Therefore, the community needs to use the latest antivirus software in order to avoid being deceived by these cyber criminals. This antivirus software should be constantly updated in order to detect fraud directly. Online shopping sites are often targeted at cybercrime to deceive the victim. By using the latest antivirus software, it can detect if the website is legitimate or not. Improving national cyber security. National cyber security is a priority in defending the security of a country. The management of national governments and cyber security should be enhanced by improving the information and communication technology (ICT) infrastructure. This can increase the ability to deal with cybersecurity issues effectively. The government must recruit skilled personnel in the field of cybersecurity in order to strengthen national security. Initiatives in the form of active cyber defense are timely because of the cybercrime that occurred during this pandemic. By improving cybersecurity, cybercrime will be reduced. Intrusion of certain agency websites will be easily detected and will be able to prevent some bad cyber attacks.
With that, I end my presentation here. Thank you, and please stay safe, stay at home. Bye.
So that's all from me. I hope you guys stay safe, stay at home. #kita jaga kita. Thank you and bye.
That's all from me. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you. Stay at home and stay safe, guys.